Hello everyone and welcome back to Jacqs Scraps. Thanks for joining me today for a design team project for Country Craft Creations. Today I am using Simple Stories Flipbook and the collection called Soar by Country Craft Creations. This is exclusive in their shop and I'll have it linked down below for you. This is a butterfly themed collection and it is so gorgeous. I just had to create this flipbook using this collection. Now, one of the different things about using this particular collection is that it doesn't have all of the journal cards that you might get in other paper collections. And so I'm showing you how to repurpose the designs in a way that you aren't just doing repetitive imagery, so that you can create a different look on each page. So let me show you what I've created. Here is my final project. This is a Simple Stories Snap 6x8 flipbook, and I love how this turned out. I did select the yellow flipbook. I just left the back blank right now because I wanted to be able to show you that. But I did do lots of layering here on the front cover. I used a shimmer cardstock, purpley shimmer cardstock on the base, and then I layered on some of the pattern paper from the Soar collection. We have this beautiful green design in the back, and throughout this collection it looks like there's like glitter or sequins on the paper. It is just so pretty and a nice little accent. I put the green down over it, and then what I did was take my pink pattern paper, I tore it on two sides, and have my butterflies coming out of the center of this tear as if they were breaking free. I used my brother's Scan and Cut to cut out the butterflies and create an offset so that I could glue down the center of their body but have their wings lifted on 5 of the butterflies here. And then I glued down 3 of them all the way just to give some dimension to the project. I really love how this looks. It kind of looks like a little shadow when you look at it that way from the top. I have some of them peeking out underneath the pink pattern paper here so that it does look as if it is coming out from underneath that paper. Here and here as well. Just so much fun, and I am loving how that turned out. I layered the Soar sentiment as well. So my flipbook has 8 page protectors in it, as well as 4 out of the page protector pages. And when I created them, I also created cut files and patterns so that if you have a cutting machine, you would be able to use the SVG files. And if you don't have a cutting machine, I have created patterns so that you could use those to recreate some of the pages that I have in this flipbook. I will have that link down below for you. It will be available for 24 hours only in my shop. And another item that I have for you for free are these photo mats that I created. They're all different sizes. This file will be out there for you as well and linked down below because I used those photo mats throughout this project. I also used it on my 8x8 interactive mini album, so they have come in very handy for my projects. On the inside cover, I used one of the cutouts from the cut files that I created, and we have the word dream here. I put some little butterflies on the letters that typically have holes in them, the D, R, and A, and I absolutely love how that looks. It's on top of plaid paper that actually came from the Ooh La La collection. I talk a little bit more about that in the tutorial that follows this presentation of my flipbook. And I created this scallop edging with the My Colors Desert Cactus cardstock. It's a beautiful color to go perfect with this collection. So this made a nice large pocket, and as you saw a moment ago, I put a 5x7 photo mat in there, but you could put smaller ones. You could even put more than one. I just put one in there for now. Okay, I've put a little roll of adhesive back here just so that I can have my pages be tilted a little bit so there wouldn't be so much glare on them. Hopefully that will work. On the first page here, I created a cut file for this. It is a ticket style. I'm just going to bring this out to show you. I added some twine around the inner layer piece where you would put your photo and put this ephemera piece up on adhesive to give it some dimension. On the back side, I've created a side pocket here. Again, we have that ticket formation. And in the pocket, I have a 4x6 photo mat and this journal card from the collection. Here is our second page. On this one, we have a little flip up here at the top where I've added one of the ephemera pieces. I put this up on chipboard so that it would be a little weighty to keep this flip up closed. So it flips open and we have this beautiful paper underneath. We just have a regular journal card that I created out of the pattern paper. In this pocket, I created a journal card as well, and I used the pattern paper. I believe this is from Ooh La La also. I used the border strip to create a little pocket for my 2 1/4 by 3 1/4 photo mat, and that just tucks right in there. Of course, you can tuck in a larger size. I just thought that one looked cute because then you could still see the pattern paper behind it. And then that just slips right in there. On the bottom right, we have another flip up where I've added a cutout butterfly, again putting that on some lightweight chipboard to give it some weight, and this flips open to that beautiful imagery. You can add photos here and here. I did want to mention that I did a mixture of cards in the pockets. We have 3x4, 2 7/8 by 4, and then we also have tags. I liked having the variety. On the back of that page, we have a photo mat for this one. Over here, I added a wood veneer bird cage, and I added it on 2 sides so that you could actually tuck a photo behind it. Down here, I've added a doily border, and you can tuck underneath that as well. And then we have another photo mat here. You would get to the back sides through the front. You just flip the cards over. This is our first out-of-pocket page. I used one of the 4x6 journal cards here, and I put it on some gold metallic vellum just to give some differentiation between the journal card and the base pattern paper. And inside we have a little booklet tag, so you can add some photos and journal in here. On the front, I added this beautiful pattern paper and a little spot to journal as well. On the back of our scallop page, I've added a 3 1/2 by 3 1/2 photo mat. So the photo mats throughout this have been made out of vellum. My photo mats, which is copyweight paper, and then I think I have one in here that's cardstock. But when I added these photo mats, I did it with some clear plastic corners so that you could remove the vellum if you wanted to, and then just add your photo in its place. That way you can use the vellum as a template for the size that you need to cut. On the top, we have an area for a 3x5 photo mat. I've added a sticker here, and it's actually on the outside of the page protector. At the bottom, we have another 4x6, and this has a flip up. We have a little ephemera piece here with the word blessed, and this vellum flips open. And I'm going to take this out so I can actually show you a moment. The way I added the vellum to the page was so that you could tuck a photo up underneath there. On the back of that page, we have another vellum photo mat area for a 3x5 photo. And here is the one cardstock photo mat that I used. only because this was a different size and I actually just used a scrap. So this one was 2 by 3 3/4. I just wanted to show this beautiful paper. It was so hard to cover this paper because it's so gorgeous. On the right side here, I added a journal card and one of the ephemera cut-aparts from the collection. Here I've created another photo mat area, and most of these on the 3x4s are 2 1/4 by 3 1/4. Again, using the clear photo corner mounts. Down here is one of the 6x4 journal cards. Butterflies are free to fly. On the back side, we have our journal card here at the top. And what I've done for this one is used some pattern paper, used a doily edge to create that pattern and made it a little tuck spot. Here we just have a sentiment: live every moment, laugh every day, and love beyond words. I love that. Here I used one of the big butterflies that I picked up from the dollar store. You can get them in a little package. They have multiple sizes, and I just love the idea of putting this big butterfly in here. I attached it at the edges so that I could make it a little pocket to hold this tag that I created. Added a little stamp here on the back that actually has a butterfly on it. Here's another out of pocket page. We have a nice little belly band here that's been layered up with some shimmer cardstock and be your own kind of beautiful ephemera piece. Tucked in there is a little waterfall that we created with 2 sheets of 4x12. So you could add your photos, you could do some journaling. A great way to create a waterfall that's nice and flat and removable. If you'll notice here on the edge, I have little butterfly wings. So this is the butterfly edge paper. On the back side, I actually cut this edging out in the metallic vellum and added that over top of the pattern paper. And I just love the softness that it adds there, as well as the shimmer. I fussy cut out this beautiful mason jar with all these wonderful florals and created a little tuck spot with that. There it is without the tag, just so gorgeous. And then here's the tag that I created. This is one of the 3x4 cut apart cards. Plenty of room to add your photos in this. Here's another double 4x6 page. We have a 3x5 photo mat at the top. Here I created another little belly band and you can tuck behind it. This also flips up and there are 4 photo mat areas here, 2x2, 2.5 by 2.5, and 2 1/4 by 2 1/4. Again, using the clear corner photo mounts. On the back side of that, we have a little tuck spot here. I added the round ephemera piece and tucked in this 3x4 photo mat. I love the idea of being able to take out some of the journal cards to add your photos. Just the interaction is really nice. Here I added a butterfly to the top of the protector sheet, so you can add your photo underneath and that will just be right over it. It's a nice little look. Here is our next protector sheet, and what I did for this one was create a large flip up. And on the front, I created a little pocket. I used some plaid paper that I had in my stash to make that little pocket. I had this little This Week ephemera piece in my stash and added that here. But this flips open and you have plenty of room to add a large photo at the top. 5x7 will fit here, or you could even do multiple smaller photos. Then down here at the bottom, I'm going to go ahead and pull this out. So down at the bottom, I attached this in a way that you could tuck your photos up underneath here, and it will hold a 5x7 photo mat. And then I added some of the border strip here along the top and created a little tuck spot there as well, and added these little baby tags. So fun. And they'll just tuck right up underneath there. Now here is the back side of that page, and what we have is a nice little 2 photo frame. These 3x5 photo mats come out, and you can tuck your photo right underneath there. I like it like that, but then I like it like this as well, so that you know what size fits there. And then that can just go back into our trusty little pocket here. Here's our next out-of-pocket page. I created a full-size pocket. We have a 4x6 journal card in there. Butterflies appear when angels are near. You can add a photo to the back side of that. And I created a little tuck spot with another ephemera piece. In a world where you can be anything, be kind. It's holding a 2 1/4 by 3 1/4 photo mat, but you could probably put a larger one there. On the back side, I created another little flip out, but this has a little stopper down here where you can slide the piece underneath to keep it closed. So you slide that open, and this is a little tuck spot here. Will hold a 4x6 photo mat. Again, you can put multiples in here. I just put one for now. And here is our next page. I added a journal card, and for this one, I created a little side tuck using this typewriter that I fussy cut out. Added this cute little happy bingo card. It's so adorable. We have a journal card here and down here. And down below here, I've inserted a little tag with an acetate word that says live. On the back side, I added a bike sticker to the page protector. So when you take this out, you can actually write on this journaling card with any interference from the sticker. We have another little decorative place here, just like the butterfly. I love the colors in this. It matched really well. On the back of the tag, I added 2 more of those little stamps that I have in my stash. And here is a nice little photo area again with our vellum. On the right side here, we have 2 3x4 areas where you can add photos to the top of those. This one has vellum over it, so you can remove that, but I didn't put anything on this one. Down below, we have another flip up for the 6x4 area. I just love this ephemera piece, and I had to use this, and it's just turned out so well here. I used the My Colors boxwood. This is the mini dots that's available at Country Craft Creations. Inserted these cute little tags. This flips up, and you'll see 2 photo mat areas down here and 1 at the top. On the back side, we have another journal card that says, with brave wings she flies. I created this using the butterfly cutouts from this page. I did some staggering of the butterflies there on a journal card. Added this little card from my stash, put some butterflies on there. Another vellum photo mat area here. And on this side, I used some gold metallic vellum, layered on some shimmer cardstock, and created again these little doily edges so that these become little pockets, and you can put your photos or ephemera pieces in there, like movie tickets or things like that, and it'll just tuck right in there. And then we have this beautiful butterfly cutout side. Now for this, you could leave it open, but what I did on the opposite side was I added vellum over it, so that you would just get that really neat kind of look and shimmer from the metallic vellum. So on this side, I added my vellum here, and then I added a doily edge here just to give it some decoration, and it created a little tuck spot for my tag. And this is the back inside cover where we have another 5x7 photo mat area. Again, this will lift out from the clear photo corner mounts. And I left the butterflies open so that it could tuck right underneath there. I love doing the layering of the different pattern papers there. This yellow plaid is from What's Cooking by Country Craft Creations. So I was able to incorporate 2 additional collections into the Soar collection. And that is my flip book. I really love how this turned out. It was so fun to create these little compartments full of all of these decorative ideas. I have a full tutorial on how I created this, and I hope that you will stick around or bookmark this video so that you can come back at another time to create the project with me. So if you can't stay, thank you so much for joining me this far, and I hope you have enjoyed this project. Please let me know down below. I really just love my butterflies on the front. And now let's get into the tutorial. Okay, so here is my flip book, and what I have done is gone through and mapped out how I want to put this whole thing together. I thought we could go through it piece by piece so that you can see how I'm doing it and some of the methods that I'm using. So I think what we'll do is start with the pages first and then come back and work on the covers. Okay, the first page we're going to work on is a full page sheet protector. There are no pockets in this. So I've cut out my ticket shape in this beautiful purpley color with the glitter splatters on it. And what I'm going to do is also cut out, the inner piece that goes on this like a photo mat. And this is going to go in the center. I did wrap around some twine that I had in my stash about 3 or 4 times. And the way that this twine is it has little sequins on it. And I really thought it mirrored the glitter effect that is on the paper. So let's go ahead and put this down. Then I fussy cut this ephemera out of the paper collection, and I'm going to add this here. Now, I'm not quite sure how I'm going to add this. I want there to be room to add a photo underneath the twine. So I think I'm going to try to glue it on to the twine on top. So let's see if I can do that with foam. So as you can see, you can still move around underneath there. Probably could use one more of those. See what it looks like in the sheet. Oh yeah, okay, that works. Okay, now let's work on the back side. And I've used this same cut file to cut out the side pocket piece. This is a cardstock that I had in my stash. Just going to glue down 3 sides to create a pocket. For the inside of the pocket, I have a 4x6 photo mat. And then I also have one of the little journal cards that I cut out from the collection. So that is our first page, front and back. Now, of course, you can add more embellishments to this, but right now I'm just going to show you basically how I put the pages together, do any additional embellishing offline. The next page we're going to work on is a protector sheet page that has 4 pockets, and they fit 3x4 journal cards or photo mats. As I was putting that together, I did look through my Country Craft Creations collections, and I found some papers that actually went with the Soar collection. So from What's Cooking, I selected this beautiful yellow plaid. And from the Ooh La La Patisserie collection, I selected the yellow plaid, which I'm not sure if I used or not. I did use the blue plaid, and then I also chose this pattern as well. So remember that when you are working with Country Craft Creations collections, many of them do work together. So it's always fun to go and find another use for collections with other collections. So we're going to be working on the protector sheet that has the 4 pockets in them. Now, when we work with protector sheets that have 4x6 pockets in them, what I noticed is that the 3x4 journal cards actually spread further across the pockets than the 4x6 journal cards. And you'll see what I mean more in a little bit. But because of that fact, I did cut down all of my journal cards that I put in here. There are a few that are 3x4 depending on what they were. So I kind of have a mixture of 3x4 journal cards and those that measure 2 7/8 inches across by 4. So I just wanted to point that out, that I did use a random selection of sizes, but you can certainly stick with the traditional 3x4 cards to go into your pockets. So for this one, what I did was I wanted to create a flip up on the pocket. So this piece measures 2 7/8 by 7 5/8, or you would make it 3 across by 7 5/8. I then scored at 4 inches to get my fold over. And if I made it short on purpose so that, you would know to flip it up. I also then cut out this image from the paper collection. I did glue it down to some very thin cardstock, and I wanted to elevate this image a little bit, and I'm going to glue that on top here. The reason I put it on cardstock is so that it would be a little weighted and keep the flap down. Okay, so there's our flip up. I don't plan to add any photo mats or anything to this. I really just love the look of that, and I want to leave it like that. Now we can slip this into our pocket. Here is another card. I cut this out of the paper collection. This is 2 7/8 by 4. So those are going to be my measurements unless I point out that it's different moving forward. For this one, it is the same size as the others. I'm taking some of the border strip. I'm going to add it down here at the bottom. I think this is super cute. And make a little pocket. So I'm just going to glue this down on 3 sides. And then I'm using one of my photo mats, the 2 1/4 by 3 1/4, and that will slip right underneath there. I think that looks super cute. On the back side, I have another 2 1/4 by 3 1/4 photo mat, and I'm just going to use my repositional Scotch glue stick, add a little bit to the back side here, and put that down as a placeholder. Now you may have noticed that the front is different than the back pattern paper, and that's because I glued two pieces that were different together. When I go to arrange my pages, I really want them to be coordinating colors and patterns. So if I think something isn't right on the back side of a piece that I selected for the front, you can simply just take one that does match and glue it to the back, and then it all works out together. I just wanted to point that out so that you know this is not part of the Soar collection again. For the last pocket, I took and created another flip up. Now for this one, I made it a little bit longer because I found that was a better size, so I'll put the correct size that this one should be on the screen for you. Again, this was 2 7/8 inches wide, or could be 3 inches wide, by 7 3/4 inches long. You would put this in your scoreboard, the long side, and score at 4 1/8. Fold that over. For the topper here, I wanted to use a butterfly, so I did add it to some lightweight chipboard, and then I also cut out the butterfly using my scan and cut with this desert cactus My Colors cardstock that I picked up from Country Craft Creations. It's a gorgeous color to go with the Soar collection. Again, this gives it some nice weight, but I'm going to add this to where it kind of hangs off the edge. I just think that is so cute. So I'm going to go ahead and put this in the pocket just so that I have it right where I need it, because I want to line up where this hangs over so that it doesn't go beyond the edge of my protector sheet. Okay, so I'm just going to add some glue up here to the top and then put that down. Then you have a nice little flip up. You can see the ends of the butterfly, but that's why I added color cardstock to them, so that the colors would match with what I have going on in this page, but that it still would look good. So now we have 2 flip ups, super fun. You can add another photo mat to this one, and then it would look like this. Very nice. Or you could leave it blank like I currently have it. Right now, that's what I'm going to do with it. So let's flip this over and work on the back side. On the back, however, I am going to stick this one on. I'm using the repositional adhesive so that this could be removed and then the real photo added. On the back of the pink one, I wanted to add just a little something here on it. So what I did was take some shimmer cardstock that I had in my stash. I used a doily punch, went along the top and the bottom, and I'm just going to add that here. Oh, actually, what I was going to do was add it to the plastic sheet. So I'm going to add it edge to edge for this 3x4 card. So this measures 3 1/8 by 5/8. When adding something to the protector sheet itself, it's good to use adhesive rather than wet glue. You know, it'll just be a quicker contact, and then you won't have that mess. I'm not sure that glue will dry on protector sheets, so just be cognizant of that. And then I'm just going to lay that here right to the edge of the protector sheet, going across. Now the way that I have added this is that it could be a tuck spot, so you could add another photo underneath that, which would be a really cool look as well, to have your photo outside of the protector sheet. at the top. I left that as is. And I'm going to be adding this adorable little wood veneer bird cage that I had in my stash. And again, I'm going to use the adhesive tape to do that. And I'm using score tape, which I picked up from Country Craft Creations as well. I'll have the supplies that I picked up from Country Craft Creations linked down below for you. Okay, I'm just going to add that here to the side. And again, you can tuck a photo underneath there. So cute. Next, we're creating an out of the protector sheet page. And I'm using one of my cut files and patterns. This is the scallop edge page. In addition to this, I did cut out my tag cut file as well. And remember, all of the cut files have patterns that go with them, unless it was too large to be a pattern, and then I didn't do that. So I cut out the tag and I added a piece of the pattern paper on top. The tag itself is 3.5 by 6 3/4. The pattern paper that I added is 2 7/8 by about 4 1/4. I did add a little journal spot down below. This measures 2 7/8 by 1. And for the second piece of the tag, this measures 4 inches wide because I added a 1/2 inch so that I could attach the two. And again, that is 6 3/4 inches tall. So what I'm going to do is add adhesive to the back side of this little hinge and attach the two pieces together. And make like a little tag booklet. So you're just going to line these up. Line it up to the score line, but not over. You could use your scoreboard if that would help make sure that it was even on the bottom. Then fold over and crease. And now you have a little tag booklet. Cute. I did not put a hole in the back piece because if you put twine through both of them, you can't open it. But I did on the front so that you could add some twine there and give it a little decoration, which I'll do that later. So let's set this piece aside. What we're going to do is create a pocket here on the front of our scallop page so that we could then tuck in our little tag piece. I used some gold vellum that I had in my stash. This is 4 1/4 by 6 1/4. I'm going to glue this down, and then I'm going to glue on top of it this 4 by 6 journal card that was part of the Soar collection. I think this is going to be so pretty on here. I was just going to add the 4 by 6 card on its own, but as you can see, it kind of just then melds into the scallop page. So when you add something like vellum as a piece in between, it really then elevates the top journal card and makes it pop. So just a little design hint. When you see your elements are just kind of fading into each other, just put a little vellum or cardstock in between them and it will really make it pop out. Okay, let's set these two pieces aside for a moment and talk about the base scallop page. When we make our own pages, we need to add our holes to the sides, and we also should score in the same location that the page protectors are scored, if you will. You can measure this out and score that way, or you can take your protector sheet, just line it up with your page, take a pencil, and where you see the line, just make a little tick mark in both places. So there are two places where the page protector folds. One has the holes in it, and then the second one is kind of like a spacer. The first one measures about 5/8 inches wide, and the second one is less than 5/8. So that's why I say it's better to just use one of the protector sheets, line it up with the edge of the pattern paper that you're using, and mark your lines that way because it will line up better. So now that we've marked them, we're going to need our scoreboard to score them. So now I'm just going to take my little tick mark, line that up with a line in my scoreboard, and score. Okay, now that we have our lines scored, you can go ahead and fold on them if you would like. I'm just going to kind of fold it a little bit just so that I know where it is, specifically the second one. And then I'm going to bring out my pocket piece, kind of dry fit this where I want it, because I want to be able to put my tag in and that it still looks even on the top and the bottom. So kind of right at the end of the text there, and if you see, that's the back side. So I'm just going to glue this down on 3 sides. I'm not going to worry about the adhesive showing through because the vellum that I'm using, it doesn't really show through. And then our tag will just slip down in there, and I'll add my twine later. So that's our kind of a half page for our flip book. On the back side, I've cut out some more of the vellum. This is kind of a metallic clear color. This is 3.5 by 3.5. And I'm going to add this down here in the corner, kind of as a placeholder for a photo. This paper was so pretty, it was hard to cover up all of the imagery. So I'm going to use some clear corner mounts that I had in my stash. Just add those to the corners and then put that down. And that is our out of page protector page. Next, we're going to be working on a page protector that has 2 pockets for 4x6 journal cards or photo mats. And what I've done is cut out a 6x4 piece from the pattern paper. I did that 2 times using 2 different patterns. Again, I think these go together. For the top one, I'm using a piece of vellum to go over that. I just had a hard time covering those butterflies again. This measures 5x3. I'll add my photo corners to that and put that down. On the bottom, what I decided to do was create a flip up using vellum. So for this, I cut a piece that measures 6 by 4.5. With the short side across the top, I scored at 1/2 inch, creating my fold over. And I'm going to glue this down I think on 3 sides. It will actually make like a little pocket. So you could tuck something underneath that. I'm going to use my 1/8 of an inch adhesive again. I think that might be the best way to go. Sometimes you can see this adhesive through the vellum, but again, because this one has like a metallic finish, even though it says it's clear, I don't think it will show through. So I'm just going right up to the top of the edge there. And I'm going to add it to the top here. As a decorative piece to the front of this, I'm adding this ephemera piece that I fussy cut out. I also used a sticker that I had in my stash that says blessed. And I'm just going to glue that down. And then when we flip this up, we have a nice little tuck spot to where you can put a photo. On the back side, I have a piece of white cardstock that I cut out. This measures 2 by 3 3/4, and I was just going to add it here on the side so that you could see the beautiful paper here. Okay, again, I just use my clear corners to add that. We can add this into the pocket. For the back side of this, I'm adding a 3 by 5 photo mat, again with my re-stickable glue. And on the outside of that pocket, I have a sticker from my stash that I'm going to add for decoration. Just here to the side. So we have a nice little flip up with a tuck spot and 3 photo mat areas. Our next pocket page consists of 2 3 by 4s and 1 4 by 6. You will see I already added something to the back of this, but we'll get to that. On the bottom, I'm adding this 6 by 4 journal card that was part of the Soar collection. So all I did there was cut it out, and I'm just going to insert it. On the top, I have added a journal card. This is one that I had in my stash. This measures a little bit over 2 7/8 by 4. This was just the size of the journal card that came in the pack that I had. I just love the dots, and I think the colors go really well. So for this one, what I'm going to do is just make it more of a decorative piece. I'm adding this ephemera piece from the collection. Just going to glue that on, center that up. On the back side, I'm kind of doing the same thing. I fussy cut this out, and I'm just going to put this here in the center. It's great to have all the pattern, but you really want to incorporate areas where your eyes can rest, and that's kind of what I'm doing here. So that goes there. For the top right, I have a pattern piece that I cut down to my size, 2 7/8 by 4. On the front, I'm going to add a piece of vellum. This is 2 1/4 by 3 1/4. So you kind of see the measurements that I'm using just repeat. Now you can just do 2 corners or 4, whatever you prefer. It's probably easier to put it in the pocket with 4 corners rather than 2. For the back side of this, I'm using a 4-inch scrap piece that I had. I used my doily edge punch on there. It's about 5/8 inches wide in the end. And I'm going to add this as a pocket on the side, again, just adhering adhesive to 3 sides of the piece. And that will go right in here. So there's the front, here's the back. For the butterfly, I had this in my stash. I added adhesive tape to the bottom and the tips here. And then I also created a tag out of some cardstock that I had in my stash as well. Added some twine that I got from Country Craft Creations. And then a little sticker. It's actually like a little stamp. It's so cute. It has a butterfly on it that says always. Just added that to the back for some decoration. But this tag fits right in the butterfly. I love it. Our next page is going to be an out of the protector sheet page. And I created this one that has little butterflies on the side of it. I just think this is so cute. So it's called the Butterfly Edge. This is part of the cut file and pattern bundle that I made. I'm not really giving measurements for this because the measurements are in the cut file bundle if you're interested in picking that up. So whether you have a cutting machine or not, the bundle will help because it does have patterns in it with all the measurements that you need to recreate it. So for this page, again, you want to take your page protector, line it up to the edge, make your little tick marks for the first and the second marks, and you want to score them. Here I've already done it. I've actually only scored one, so I'll go ahead and score the second one. To decorate this page, I cut out some cardstock that I had in my stash. This one measures 5 1/4 by 2 3/4. The second piece measures 5 1/4 by 1 5/8. I'm going to glue these on top of each other. And what we're creating is a belly band. Then I cut this ephemera piece from the collection, and I'm going to add that to the top. I made this wide enough to fit between the score line that we made as well as the edge of the page so that the butterflies would be kind of like they're sitting here on the edge of the page. So we're going to just add adhesive down the sides. So I'm adding it up to the score line, but again, not over it. You can kind of see there. There's even like maybe a 1/16 of an inch difference there. For this page, I wanted to include an insert that was pulling out the white in this ephemera piece, as well as the page that would be before it. So in the book, this is how the layout will look. We have white in the tag in this ephemera piece here, as well as the card. And with all the colors that were going on, it really needed something else to pull out a solid color. So I figured white would be it. In my stash, I found this wonderful pink and white cardstock, and I thought that would be perfect. It just gives a nice area to rest. This is really busy paper, even though I think it's absolutely gorgeous. It just still needed something to give it a little rest. So I cut out 2 of these that measure 4 by 12. And there are 2 ways that you can do this. One, you could take these, score at 6 on both pieces, fold them over, and you could sew along the edge by your hand or using a machine. You could even use staples to staple these 2 pieces together, fold over, and then you have a nice little flat flip of pages where you could add photos. But I'm going to use them like this, one with the pattern up, one with the pattern down. I'm going to stagger them about 1/2 inch at the bottom. And then fold over and stagger those about a 1/2 inch. So you see what's happening. I'm just kind of making staggered 1/2 inches in between the paper. Doesn't have to be exact, really. I think that looks good. Then I'm going to fold this over and burnish. This is pretty thick cardstock, so it's a little hard. So what you've ended up doing is actually creating a waterfall. It's just a different way of creating one using 2 pieces of cardstock. So I'll sew mine later across there or at a staple, but I did want to show you how I was creating that little flip. On the back side, we have the butterflies again, and I wanted to create some differentiation between the butterflies and the pattern paper. So I created an edge of just the butterflies in the bundle. So you'll be able to do this as well. I took my vellum, I added score tape to the back side of it, and then I cut out the butterfly edge. And I'm going to add that here over top of the butterflies, and I absolutely love that effect that it gives. So I hope you'll give that a try too. And it's so much easier when we add the adhesive to the vellum first than trying to glue it on. So I'm just going to add this over the butterflies. I'm going to do this off screen so I can make sure I get it lined up really well and need to see over it. So I'll be back. Okay, so there it is with the vellum on top. For the page, I fussy cut out the jar with the flowers and butterfly. I really wanted to use this. And I'm going to add it here on top. And I think what I'm going to do is overlap it a little bit from where our score lines are. I initially was thinking it was going to be over here. It would have given you plenty of room. But I kind of forgot that I needed to account for the folds. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and go over at least one of the folds. It'll be fine. It'll just have a crease in it. It'll still look good. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm even going to go off the edge at the bottom a little bit to kind of just bring this down some so that I could get more of the floral at the top. So let's see, I'm going to line this up, doing a little bit of a dry fit. I'm going to use my bone folder to create a score at the bottom so I know where to cut that off and where to add my adhesive. Going to make a little tick mark here on the side so I know where that score line will be and to where to add my adhesive. Okay. And then as an insert, I created this tag. It measures 3 1/4 by 5. I also added a journal card that is 3 by 4 from the paper collection to the center to decorate. I used some of the burlap twine. I'm not sure exactly what she calls that, but I love it. I love how thin this is. Added a little hole reinforcement there. And then this will get tucked right underneath here. I did glue some of these pieces that are a little delicate here at the top. just so they don't get messed up. I want to go over the score line again. There. So now it'll fold over with no problem. Yeah. Okay. Our next page is another pocket page that has two 6x4 pockets in them. And what I used was the blue and white plaid pattern from Ooh La La. On the back it had a tag, which I don't really need. So I'm also cutting two of these out. So I cut two 6x4 from the Ooh La La paper collection. And I'm going to glue these back to back. For the front, I'm going to take a 3x5 journal card and temporarily adhere that. On the back side, I have a 3x4 photo mat, and that's going to actually get tucked into this little piece. This is from the paper collection, and I'm going to glue this down on the side and make it a little tuck spot. So kind of like this. For the bottom, you're going to need one piece of pattern paper that measures 6 by 8, and you're going to put it on the long side across the top and score at 3 7/8. Again, I like to do that so that there's a little differentiation on the fold over so that you know it's a flip up. For the front, you're also going to need one piece of cardstock that measures 6 by 1, and we're going to make this a little belly band as well. You could glue it all the way down if you wanted. Put that here on the top. I cut out this ephemera piece and I'm going to put it on top of our little strip there. Just gluing down the center. And you should still be able to tuck something underneath there, okay? Let's flip this open. You can leave this just like it is to show the beautiful paper, but I thought about adding little photo mats. I have a 2.5 by 2.5 photo mat here. I have two 2x2 photo mats, which I thought about adding here and here. And then I have a 2.25 by 2.25 photo mat, which you could add here. Again, I was doing it to show the beautiful paper in between the photo mats, but you can really add the photo mats to the size that you prefer. You may just want to add a 3x5 here to cover this up. You could have put a 4x6 photo. It's purely up to you. Oh, I like that right there. And that's why I like using the photo corners, because these could be pulled back up sometimes without ripping. So I'm just going to add all my photo corners and then I'll be back. Okay, whoop. So that's how that looks. On the back side, I'm going to add the music sheet piece over the very floral pattern paper. I may add some more embellishments to this later, but for now, that's all I'm doing. And then this is going to go in the pocket like this. So we have a flip up there. And then on the back side, it looks like that. Our next page is going to be a full 6x8 pocket page with no additional pockets, just one big page. And for this one, I cut out a piece of cardstock that I had from my stash that is 6 by 8 1/4. Then I cut out some of the pattern paper. This was 6 by 9 3/4 inches long. I scored it on the long side at 1 3/4 inches. I then folded that over. I glued on 3 sides to make a little pocket piece. So I'm using my 5x7 photo mat, and that goes right up in there. Really cute. Look how beautiful that is. This is some more of the border strip that I added here just across the top. I made this a little pocket on top of the pocket. And then I cut down a little baby tag to go in it. And this measures 1 3/4 by 1 1/2. That's the larger tag. And then I added just one of these little baby tags that I had. This is 1 1/8 inches long by 3/8 inches wide in case you wanted to replicate this look. But it just tucks right in there. It's so cute. You could even, I'm thinking about putting a word on here, stamping a word there, and just having it flip over it. But either way, it's adorable. You have a nice little tuck spot for a 5x7 photo. And in fact, you have another large area for a photo at the top. Now, I wasn't going to put one of the mats up there. I figured that's pretty clear once you see it down here. So this is how that looks so far. On the front, I cut out a piece of the pink and white plaid paper that I had from my stash. This was not a Country Craft Creations collection. This measures 6 by 1. I'm going to glue this on 3 sides and have it be a little pocket on the front. I just loved mixing the plaids with this collection. It just went so well. So I'm just going to put it down here at the bottom. So when you see the 2 pages together, that's the look you'll get. Really cute. Love it. And as I was going through my stash, I found this week little journal card. So I thought I would just stick that in there. Kind of cute. I think it looks best there. But you really could fit any size in here. And in fact, you could probably put another 5x7 photo mat there. All depends on what you want to do. So let's flip this over. And on the back side, we have this beautiful shimmer paper. In my cut file bundle, I created this 2 photo frame. And these hold 3x5 photo mats. So I have 2 of the photo mats here. I also cut out this ephemera piece, and I'm going to glue that across the center of my frame. But let's glue this down first. And this will fit the full size of the back here. So just line up your edges. If there's any overage, just trim it. It might be very slight. So I'm just going to do a little trimming here. It's so minute. See? You could put this up on foam adhesive if you wanted to give it some more dimension. I am trying to keep my embellishments a little bit flatter so my book doesn't get so alligator mouth. So we'll see how it turns out in the end. So really you could leave this open so that it looks like this, or you can add your photo mats so that they know what to actually do with that page. So for now, I'm just going to do that. And then fold that down, okay? So this is on the outside of the plastic protector sheet, and that's on the inside. Our next page is an out-of-pocket protector page. This I created in the cut file bundle as well. Now I must say this was a little tricky to cut out because I'm using a 12 by 12 piece of pattern paper, and the image itself measures 11 and 7/8, a little bit beyond 11 and 7/8. When I created it, I wasn't really thinking about the actual size. I just knew what I wanted. I had measured it out. This is the size that I wanted. So I may make some changes in the cut file so that you are piecing the two pieces together, this back one and the front one, because what we're doing is creating a pocket page. So what we have here is the 1/2 inch flap, and we're going to adhere that down. Well, before we do that, let's take our page protector, line that up, make our pencil marks, do our scoring. Now remember, I'm just lining up my tick marks with any mark in the scoreboard so that they match, because they're not evenly spaced. So now that we have our score lines there, we're going to go ahead and add adhesive to the back side of the 1/2 inch flap. Flip this over, and now we have a pocket page because this is going to be in the binding system and it will close this side of the pocket. So we only need to close the right side. In the pocket, I'm using one of the 4x6 cut apart cards. And on the front, I'm going to create another little tuck spot with this ephemera piece from the paper collection. Again, just adding adhesive to one side and inserting a 2 1/4 by 3 1/4 photo mat. Might be able to use a larger size one. That's cute. On the back side, you're going to need one piece of pattern paper that measures 6 by 8. And I think this was kind of a scrap piece, so that's why I ended up using it. You're going to score this on the short side at 1 1/4 inches all the way down. We're going to fold and burnish that. Add adhesive to 3 sides, so the sides at the top and the bottom, and the back where the fold is. Add adhesive. Making a little tuck spot out of this, and we're going to add it on top of our base page. Now this size is smaller than our base page, but I kind of like that look. Just made it a little bit more airy, a little bit lighter. So just line this page up with the edge of our base page. Okay. On the inside, I'm going to add a 4x6 photo mat. I also thought about adding some of this ribbon. But now that I think about it, I wanted to add a closure using this little ephemera piece. And if I add the ribbon, I won't be able to bend the page as much and just slip it in there. So now I don't think I'm going to add the ribbon. But that is an alternative. If you don't use this type of sliding closure, you could add some ribbon to the edge, which I think would be really cute. It's just so adorable. But it would be too thick to slide under my little closure here. I was going to put this here, but then it kind of takes away from there. So I think I'm going to just do it down here. Yeah, I like it right there. Just going to leave it, add some adhesive. It's always good to dry fit your images so that you get the right placement that you want. And then look, a nice little slip closure. Like it. Let's see. Yeah, I don't like it up here on its own. I mean, we could maybe add it the rest of the way. I just think it'll look funny. All right, so that's that page. Our next page is a 4 pocket page for 3x4s. On the top, I'm using one of my journal cards, again, that I had in my stash. As I mentioned before, it's kind of an odd sizing. It's like the mark after 2 7/8 by 4. It's not even actually 4. But what I did in my stash, I found this adorable little bingo card that says happy at the top. I wanted to use that as an insert. And then I found a 3x4 journal card with this image on it. And what I did was just fussy cut this out because I think it would make a cute little tuck spot. So I'm just going to glue this down the side. Again, I'm mixing items from my stash in with this paper collection, and it just goes so well. The colors just are so beautiful. And this will just tuck right in there. How cute. On the back side, I found this journal card, and this one ends up being like 2 5/8 by 3 3/4. It's a little bit smaller than all that, but I just love it. It says just like the butterfly, and I thought again that this went with everything. So I'm just going to add this as like a decorative element. Not everything has to have a function. It doesn't have to have a photo in it. It can be decorative. Because there's so many pockets and everything in a flip book, you have plenty of room to explore beyond adding photos. You can use your journaling and everything in there as well. Okay, so this is going to go like this. In the pocket. On the top right hand side, I have one of the 3x4 journal cards, so you can see that this is the standard size. And then on the back, I'm adding one of my own journal cards from my stash. I am going to glue these two together. You can always cut them down if you need to. I think I actually may have cut that one down a little bit. So it's going to go up here. In the bottom left-hand corner, I cut out this piece from the paper. When you're cutting out like your journal cards per se, think about the different elements on a sheet. Let me get one and show you. Okay, so here's our 12 by 12. Now let's look for this image. So it is right here. So when you're looking at your pattern paper and you're going to cut out a 3 by 4 card or whatever size you're using, think about the different sections. When you put it together, it makes this beautiful imagery, right? But when you narrow it down to a specific area like I've done here, look how gorgeous that is, just like that. Even with part of the wing cut off, I just love that. You could even come over here and create just a little card using that, and it looks fabulous. Or over here. Just think about the different components on your pattern paper and how you can make it look different. That's how you stretch out your pattern paper. When you use the same pieces over and over again, you get that same repetition. To me, I don't like that very much, so I was trying to be very strategic on how I cut my paper so that I could take just this section and make a little journal card out of it, and it wouldn't look like the full 12 by 12 piece. So I hope that makes sense, and I hope that helps a little bit in cutting these images down. Now, I'm not actually showing you where I cut each one of these because that would just take entirely too long. But I did want to explain my methodology on how I actually go about selecting the areas that I cut out to use. Okay, so on the back of this one, all I did was added a vellum piece again with my clear photo corners on the back side, and I'm just tucking that right into the pocket as is. Next, I wanted to incorporate some tags. I just love the idea of tags in these pocket pages. So these are tags that I had in my stash. Again, 2.5 by 4.5. I added some of that wonderful twine. And then I even had these little words in my stash that you can take foil and foil these if you wanted to. But quite frankly, I just love the look of it on top of the tag, just as it is. It brings out the black in the typewriter a little bit, and I like how that matched up. You could staple these on. I think I'm just going to leave it in there as a loose piece. On the back, again, I added some of my little stamps that I had as stickers, and I'm just going to put that in there. There, I just love that look. So I hope I'm giving you lots of different ideas to try. Once you get started in creating different little compartments, it's really quite fun. The next pocket page that we're going to do is one that has 2 3 by 4 areas at the top and a 6 by 4 area at the bottom. I did cut out this piece from the pattern paper to go here. I'm not exactly sure if I'm going to leave this here, but I'm going to go ahead and insert it just for now. I may use it, I may not. I'm not sure. It goes with everything, but I'm not sure if I really like it. So for now, that's where it stays. On the back side of it, I'm using another one of my journal cards that I had in my stash. If you notice, it's kind of a lavender color. And I'm using some of the butterflies that got cut out when I cut out my butterfly page, which you'll see here in just a moment. So I'm going to stagger these on top of each other. I just think this is such a cute look to have these staggered. Oh, look at that. That's beautiful. What's on the other side? I don't care for that one. I don't care for that one. So, too bad, because I really like that. That's really pretty. All right. Just going to go with the matchy-matchy. Kind of center these a little bit. I'm going to do the top one next to Make sure I get the placement right. Okay, so this can now go into our pocket page. And it's okay to leave them both loose. They don't have to be glued together. Then you could actually put something secretive in between them. That's kind of fun. Okay, so now we're on the top right-hand side when our holes are on the left. I have cut out another pattern piece and added my clear photo corners and some vellum paper in there as a photo mat placeholder. On the back of that, I'm using one of the cut apart cards from the paper collection, and I'm going to glue these together. That will go up here. On the bottom, you're going to need one piece of pattern paper that measures 6 by 8. On the long side across the top, you're going to score at 3 7/8. Fold and burnish. You're also going to need a piece of cardstock for the front. I chose the green to go with the green spots on the pattern paper. This is the Boxwood Mini Dots cardstock. So I'm going to glue this on 3 sides, but I think I'm also going to glue it down the center. So right about here. Going to put it on the edge. So just line everything up, make sure nothing's hanging over. I have this from the Soar collection. I absolutely love this piece and I really wanted to use it. So I'm going to glue this down halfway down here at the bottom, just as a decorative element for this page. In the pockets, I have 2 little tags that I'm going to use. These are 2 by 3. That's why I glued down the center, to kind of keep them separate from each other. And they go right in there. Added my little twine here at the top. That's so cute. On the inside, I went ahead and added my 2 by 2 photo mat, my 2 1/4 by 3 1/4 photo mats down here at the bottom, using my clear corner mounts. Let's do the back side and then we'll put it in the protector page. So I found this piece in my stash and I really thought the purples in it went well with the paper collection. So I'm just going to glue this one down. And for my vellum, it measures 2 1/2 by 3 5/8. And I'm just going to use my clear photo corners again. Now I wanted to again pull in these little baby butterflies, and I'm just going to adhere them randomly on this side. Kind of forgot my idea for them. That's cute. Let's just do that. You can still do your journaling in between there. And we'll add this with the flap on the outside. So when you see these 2 pages together, that's what that looks like. So you see, even though I have different colors, I kind of pulled them all in together with the greens, the pinks, and the oranges here. All right. Here is our next out of pocket page. This is my butterfly cutout page that I created. I've already gone ahead and lined up my protector sheet, made my lines, scored them. And for this page, I was going to do a waterfall, but since I included that in a different area, I decided to just make some photo mats. So I have 2 of these, and these measure 2 3/8 by 3 3/8, and then I added the gold vellum on top. I do like to repeat some of the materials that I've used earlier in something. I like to repeat them to be throughout the album. And this measures 2 1/4 by 3 1/4, the vellum. So I'm going to kind of stagger them like this, but I also thought it would be cute to include, I just think that's so adorable. And we did this once before. So I'm going to add another border strip at the bottom. This one was probably 1 inch when I started. It is now about 7/8 of an inch wide. And I'm not going to tell you the length because I'm making it the length of these cards, which I just gave you at 2 3/8. So I'm just going to add my adhesive to 3 sides. It was easier to make one long border strip and then just cut it as I needed it. This one will do the same, and it fits perfectly there. I'm gonna add them at a little bit of an angle as well. That is so cute. Okay, so there's that page. On the back, I decided to do something a little different, and I'm going to add vellum over my butterfly cutouts. So you see on this side, look how cute, that'll look so cool. So here it is regularly, you would be able to see the pattern paper underneath it, but I like this a lot better. So I'm going to put this down in a way that actually creates a side tuck spot. So I'm going to be really strategic about it. So when I line this up, my vellum measures 3 5/8 by 8 1/2. I'm lining these up on the edge so that I can see where the last cutout of the butterfly is. So it's right here. So I'm going to kind of glue this part down. And then this area here will be a tuck spot for my little tag. I'm going to use my 1/8 of an inch adhesive tape for this. So I'm gluing down 3 sides and then that additional piece on the inside. Okay? Now remember, if you have clear vellum, you may see your adhesive tape. But because mine has this metallic look to it, you really can't see it that much. I think what I'll do is flip this over, line it all up, and then add my adhesive just slightly before it. So here's the end of my butterfly right there. I'm going to go right before it and hope that worked. Yeah, see, here's my cut apart right here. And I probably got about 1/8 of an inch there, so that's pretty good. Now, if this line is crooked, it's not going to matter. All right, so we'll take this off first, I think, and lay that down. See, you can't even see it. Maybe right here. And there is my tag that I wanted to use. This is 2.5 by 4.5 with my little twine. Oh, that fits so snugly. Perfect. I love it. So that was our last page in this flip book. You may have an additional page protector, maybe 1 or 2 that I did not use. One because I kind of ruined one when I was trying to do something different. And then it kind of just messed up the whole theme that I have, because I started out with 2 protector sheets, 1 out of pocket sheet, 2 protector sheets, 1 out of pocket sheet. So I kind of had a pattern going on with how I was doing my pages. So I ended with 1 outside of the pocket, which kind of goes along with the front, because after that you would go to the front, which has 2 pocket pages. So that was my methodology on order. But there they are. You could go ahead and fill up the other 2 based on what I have shown you here. Now let's move toward the covers. Since we just finished our last page, let's do the back inside cover first. So here's my back inside cover. You're going to need 1 piece of pattern cardstock. I use this from the What's Cooking collection. This is 5.5 by 7.5. I'm using the 5x7 photo mat. 1 piece of pattern paper that is 2 by 8 3/4. 1 piece of solid cardstock that is 3/4 by 8 3/4. And then I have another solid cardstock. I don't know the width of this yet, but the height is 1.5 inches. I'm just going to cut it off after I get it placed. I don't know if I want to go to the black line or over the black line. So I'm going to see how that looks, I think. And then, of course, I fussy cut out some butterflies that I'm going to add as decoration. So what I'm creating here is really just a layered photo mat. So let's start with the easy piece and just add our clear photo corners to this. Okay, we'll set that aside. Next, I'm going to take my solid piece and I'm going to overlap this onto the larger one just a little bit, maybe 1/4 of an inch. So you see, I'm not really measuring, I'm just kind of guessing what I think 1/4 of an inch looks like. And I'm going to put that on top of this piece. Again, just guessing. So this is the idea. But I think I had this under here. So I didn't do it all the way over, maybe 1/4 of an inch from the score line there. Again, I just loving the layered look. I think that was how I wanted it to look. Oh yeah, it's much better when it's on top. Okay. We're just gonna glue this all the way down. Oh, so the measurement ends up being just slightly over 7.5, the first mark. You could go to 7 5/8 if you wanted. You can really cut this piece to the size that you like. You may not like it going over the black. Now I'm really just looking at my spacing here and up here to where I really want it. So I think that works. This piece here, I'm just gluing all the way down. I'm going to come out a little bit so that I don't need to round the corners. But when I did need to round corners, I used the 3 hole punch corner rounder by We Are Memory Keepers. Picked that up from Country Craft Creations. That has been a wonderful tool to have. So it's about 3/8 of an inch from the edge here, I think. Could really be whatever you want it to be. Now, when I was creating this, I did not decorate the back of the flip book. If I was to decorate it, I would just add a solid piece of pattern paper on the back, probably maybe put a little embellishment down at the bottom. But I'm not going to be showing that in this particular case, so I just wanted you to know that, because I haven't made my mind up at this point. Yeah, and then I'm just going to glue this down on top. I just love that layering. And then I have a couple different butterflies. Maybe this one up here. I don't know, I'm kind of liking this one down here. And then adding this one up here. But remember, when you add them, to not glue everything down so that you can still get your photo underneath there. That works, and I'm liking this one down here. Okay, so that's our back inside cover. Now we're going to work on the inside of our front cover. For this, you're going to need 1 piece of pattern paper. I'm using the blue and white plaid. This is from the Ooh La La collection. This is 4 by 8 3/4, and I did use the corner rounder, the 7mm on 2 of the corners. This is going to get glued down on 3 sides to create a pocket, but I wanted to add just a little edge to this, so I then created a scalloped edge, and this is part of the cut file bundle. This is almost 1 1/4 inches wide, not quite, by 8 3/4. This will go underneath here. There might be a little bit that you might have to trim off, but not much. I'm then going to take the cutout letters from this page that I created. This is in the bundle, but I didn't use it, and it has the word dream cut out of it. I really liked the idea when I first created it, but then as I was going through making the flip book, I decided not to use it. But I had all of these cutouts from the word. When I was deciding what to do with the inside cover, I thought, well, why not use these words? And I'm just really loving how this ended up in the end. So I'm going to take these and glue them down. Hopefully they'll all fit here. I think I got them all on there. So it'll look something like this. Something like that. And then I'm going to take the butterflies that, again, were cut out of the butterfly page. These cutouts right here. And I'm going to add them to the letters. So I'm taking out the tiniest of the butterflies, and I'm going to put them where there would be a hole in the alphabet. Like for the A, there would be a hole there. And here's one for the D. I just love that. I just think it's so cute. Then this is part of the paper collection. I cut this out. I'm going to add it here to kind of build a bridge between these different patterns. I'm going to add that there. And then I'm going to add some butterflies. I'm not sure that one was part of it, but like this. Somehow, something like that. I just love how that looks. And I didn't include an insert, but you can certainly put one in there. Maybe a 4x6 or 5x7 photo mat would work in there as well. But that's how this page is going to go. Okay, so I inserted a 5x7 photo mat just to have something there. And now we'll work on the front cover. For the cover, I'm using this base shimmer cardstock, and it measures 7 1/8 by 8 1/2. I rounded my corners, and this is going to go down on the bottom. So let's just go ahead and do that. Okay, now we have our base piece down. The next thing I wanted to do was use the back side of this beautiful paper. It's the one where it had all these beautiful butterflies on it. I took this, put it in my scan and cut out a bunch of them. I even cut out little offsets of each of these so that I could do some layering. And then I am just going to go ahead and use this piece. Even though there's a chunk cut out of it, it's not going to matter. It's going to get covered. So this piece measures 7 by 8 3/8. This is going to get layered on top of our base layer. So let's go ahead and do that. Next, I took this same size that I used for this green piece, and I cut it out of the pink with the music notes in the back. I then took that piece and I ripped it in half, and then I ripped it again. So I cut out the middle of the piece that I had. I wanted the butterflies to look like they were escaping out of this crack or tear in the paper. So what I'm going to do is layer these two pink pieces on top of the green one there. It may look blue to you, but it's green. And these are going to go at the exact size of the green paper. Okay, so I'm not layering like that. I don't want that. I'm going to layer it like this. When I glue these down, I'm going to leave the edge here unglued on both of these so that I might be able to tuck some butterflies up underneath there. I'm using this ephemera piece from the paper collection. I did an offset of this as well, layered them on top of each other, and I'm going to add that to the front. I'm going to add this flat because I really want the dimensional part of it to come from the butterflies. So for the butterflies, I'm going to take the colorful one. I'm going to put my thumb here on the side of the body of the butterfly and fold up on the wing on each side. And then going to add adhesive in the center where the body is and adhere that to my offset. What that does is give me a butterfly where I can make it dimensional if I like and pop up the wings. And this is going to go right there. It's already looking great. Now I'm going to go ahead and start laying out my butterflies however I want them. Again, I'm just pushing up with my thumb on each side to get the body of the butterfly. And I'm not going to do that with all of them. I'm only going to do that with some of them because I want a mix of flat butterflies with the dimensional ones. Oh, almost put that on the wrong side. Okay. Okay, we have our covers all decorated. We have our pages all done. I did go back through for the pages that were outside of the page protector and use one of them to line up again, just like we did when we created the lines. I lined it up, took my pencil, outlined the circles, and then I punched holes where they were so everything would line up really well. So everything is ready to be put together. So let's put that one down. Here is our mechanism. I had previously taken this out. So we put this one back in and it goes with the prongs side up. Okay, so it'll look like that. And then we can start loading our pages. Now, I don't think this is going to be very thick. I would put spacers in between my pages so that it would help the binding not be so alligator mouth. But I'm not sure that we're going to need that today. Then we take our back cover, we take the flap, put it down on top of the prongs, And then we add the final closure piece. Fold one prong in, slide your slider over, and then bring the other prong down and put your slider over that. Nice and tidy. And look, it's not that fat. That's awesome. I love it. So that's how we created this flip book. Lots of fun with these interactive pages. I love it. I hope you have enjoyed this as well, and we'll give it a try. And if you do, don't forget to post your projects in the Country Craft Creations Scrapbooker Facebook group. I would love to see it, as well as the rest of us. Thanks a lot for joining me, everyone, and I'll see you next time.